Imagine slashing the insane cost of powering and cooling the massive data center that fueled today's AI explosion by moving them off Earth entirely, where solar energy is constant, 40% stronger than on the planet's surface, cooling is free, and space is unlimited. Now, imagine you are the only person on the planet who actually has everything needed to make it happen. Reusable rockets, thousands of satellites already in orbit, cutting-edge AI models, and a global laser communication network. Elon Musk doesn't have to imagine it. He already controls all four pieces. Welcome to yet another episode of True Spirit and Wealth. Thanks for joining me. This time I wanted to explore a bit more for you, but also for me, the insane idea of Elon Musk to create Orbital data center. And if that is an opportunity for a small investor like me and maybe you. I want to be clear, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's just for educational purposes. Thank you for following me. Let's start understanding the issue. The data center that power the AI models consume a lot of electricity, particularly electricity to run the engines and electricity to cool down the servers. To the point that the debate is about the cost of electricity, because the same electricity is used also for other companies and households. And obviously, if there is scarcity of an asset, the price will go up. This is so true that those that own the models and are building data center are also building power plants to power their data center. However, this is all cost and long-term not only monetary cost, but also logistic cost and consume of land. So there could be shortage of all these important assets. So what's the idea of Elon Musk? Elon Musk, as a disruptor, he has a different idea, not building more data center on Earth, but building them in orbit. In orbit, we have endless solar power, no blackout, 24 hours, 7 days per week, and also the solar energy in orbit is about 40% stronger than on the surface of our planet. In orbit, there is natural cooling. So if you think that probably more than 90% of the weight of a data center is for cooling, that will reduce a lot the cost and the size of the data center in orbit. And cooling is free because obviously it's very cold up there. And also the scalability. Launch thousands of satellite nodes linked by laser communication, so Starlink, forming a floating supercomputer. That are the ideas of Elon Musk. In the filing to the communication commissions, SpaceX aiming for up 1 million satellites to be launched on orbit, expanding Starlink into an AI computer grid. Data beam from space to Starlink terminals slashes costs following Elon Musk by 10x. There is also a moon angle. With the ability of Elon Musk to put stuff on orbit and beyond, there is this idea of creating data center on the moon also, using Starship and using the robots Optimus. And what do you need to do all this? You definitely need the ability to throw stuff on orbit and beyond. You need a good artificial intelligence model, and you need the ability to have a communication laser-based framework, which is essentially Starlink. And guess what? Elon Musk has all these things. Just things like Grok trains model in orbit using unlimited power for free. Grok optimized the satellite operation like an autonomous robot moon landing. And there is also the idea of the share funding. So xAI, so Grok cash burns gets SpaceX profit and SpaceX gets AI profit. To make this real, Musk has already merged xAI, so is the AI startup behind Grok, into SpaceX in a merging that is worth $1.25 trillion. just this month. This is vertical integration in steroid. All the actions that Elon Musk has been doing in the last few months, probably here, leads to the big event, SpaceX IPO. IPO stands for Initial Public Offerings, and usually it is used to launch a private company into a public domain to raise funds for scalability of the company. The stock will bundle everything. SpaceX launches, Starlink internet communication, and xAI Grok model. And these will be worth definitely more than 1.5 trillions. So let's go a bit more in details to see what are the opportunities for a small investor. SpaceX 2026, the 1.5 trillion frontiers. So in summary, the opportunity, as we have discussed so far, the event is the initial public offering, which is targeted for the end of 2026, targeting also an objective of above 1.5 trillion in valuation for SpaceX. What does fuel this valuation is a conglomerate of unicorns. So it's powered by Starlink, which at the moment is the cash cow of the group, Starship, which has a transport monopoly, and xAI, the model, the intelligence layer. The last bit, we will see how little investor, small investor like myself and perhaps you, can be exposed to this potential success. The valuation of SpaceX is parabolic. Only in 2024 it was just about 200 billion, and by the beginning of 2025 it was 350 billion, so almost double. And incredibly, by the end of 2025 it was 800 billions. And this valuation is driven by the Starlink profitability. The target for the IPO, as said, is 1.5 trillion. Starlink is the cash cow of the group. Just in the last year, the subscriber base has doubled from just above 9 million to almost 18.4 million subscriber, with an estimated revenue for last year of 15 billions, and it makes $2 of every $3 in the total revenue of SpaceX. And the trend is quite clear. I am a Starlink user, and I must say that I will never go back. The other element that we have seen at the beginning of this video is the monopoly of the launching rocket. 80% of the rocket launched in space are launched by SpaceX, while the remaining 20% is the rest of the world, primarily China, Russia, some Europe, and some India. We have seen, like Elon Musk already have all the elements, the connectivity through Starlink, the intelligence layer with xAI, and the transport with SpaceX. Now let's see how small investor can be exposed to this potential, and I repeat, potential opportunity. It's not super easy in the sense that only accredited investor over 1 million plus net worth can participate in this investment. However, there are, let's call them all proxy for simplicity, proxies that we can use to be exposed to a potential upside. So there are funds that we can purchase part of through different financial means, but these Destiny Tech, ARK Venture, ARK Venture, Baron First Principles, these are all investing in SpaceX and in the IPO, and so they will have an upside if this IPO goes well. Alphabet, so Google, essentially a 7% equity stake in SpaceX. Bank of America is another proxy that we could use, but also other Elon Musk company like Tesla. Tesla, obviously, for being part of the Musk empire, very likely will benefit from an upside of SpaceX, and also the production of batteries and robot will be a part of the new idea of Elon Musk. The last, and probably the one that I would invest more to be exposed to the potential upside of the IPO, is a strategic partner, EcoStar. Essentially, EcoStar have been selling licenses to Starlink for the last few years, and is now changing their business model by reducing their investment in complex and very costly towers for 5G, and investing instead more, as I was saying, in laser beam communication technology, meaning Starlink. Just look at this graph that shows the trend of the EcoStar stock. Exactly from the beginning of 2025, we can see a starting of a green candle and of an uptrend, which has essentially moved the cost of the stock from about less than $10 to almost $120. So this is, let's say, a 10x in 1 year, which shows you that perhaps the path of moving away from debt and costly 5G towers to laser beam communication is the right thing to do. But is it only easy and fantastic, as I said so far, or there are some risks as well? And there are risks. The valuation of 1.5 trillion exceeds 60 times the current sales across the group. Traditional aerospace industry price to sale is about 4 times the sales. So obviously there is a big difference here. And clearly the evaluation is based also on emotions and the potential for the future. But the potential for the future is easily targeted and destroyed when, for instance, something doesn't work as expected. There could be some regulatory caps, which at the moment, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, they seems like unlikely, given the current political environment in the US. However, there could be technical delays. And one thing that I have in mind, and I heard a lot while I was collecting information for this video, is that just think if this satellite, for some reason, some or many, falls on Earth, killing people or destroy things. That will be the end of this project. Let's conclude this video with a very practical approach. This is what very likely I'm gonna do. Let's assume you have 10,000 euros, $10,000 to invest, or a similar amount of money in other currencies. What I would do is investing about 1,000, 2,000 euros as soon as possible to those proxies that I have shown you before. And then I would wait for the IPO to pan out, and I will then have information through the stock market graphic about the floor and the top, and I will make a decision. But one thing that is really important, and then it works all the time for medium long-term investment, is what is called, the acronym is DCA, so dollar cost average, which means essentially do not put all your money in one moment, but just put it month by month, week by week, quarter by quarter, the things that psychologically makes you feel more in control and happy with your investment. While sometimes you may lose a moment in the market, over time the dollar cost average always provide the best results. I hope this has been useful and interesting, and if it has been, I would really love if you like and subscribe, and I thank you very much for having followed me this long. Bye.